So, if you were baited into this video just to know the date of the rapture, then you definitely should watch this video until the end because you might be in serious danger. The command that we received to watch, as in Matthew 25:13, watch therefore, for you know not the hour nor the day which the Son of Man is coming, is not to watch videos on YouTube to know when the rapture is. That is completely misunderstood, and that's not truth. The command that we received to watch is for us to watch that we remain in His presence. That's the command for us to watch, because the rapture is just a public manifestation of His presence to take those who are His in His presence away from this evil world. So the command that we received to watch ye therefore, because you know not the hour nor the day or of when He's coming, is because we need to watch to remain in His presence in order for us to be taken to Him when His public manifestation happens. It is definitely not to watch videos on YouTube just to know when the rapture is. And if you're thinking that that's the command that we received to watch, to know when the rapture is, then you are completely wrong. It is for us to remain in His presence. Therefore, if we don't love, then we don't watch. We must love. Love is the first commandment. We must love Him. Because if we don't love Him, if we don't love others, we don't truly watch for His coming. And this is in 1 John 3. For this message you heard from the beginning, we should love one another. We know that we have passed from death to life because we love each other. Anyone who does not love remains in death. And this is His command, to believe in the name of His Son, Jesus Christ, and to love one another as He commanded us. So we must love. If we don't love, we don't watch, because we are not within His commandment. And this love, we must do it with actions and not just with words. You can read 1 John 3 for the full context of this. We must love with actions. So because of this, I feel like I should apologize for my previous video on this channel, because I guess I expected too much from many of you way too soon. Many were not even familiarized with the terms and quickly judged it. But most didn't even care to watch my previous video, but some even accused me of being a scammer or a worshipper of Mammon, and that was very, very mean. How could I possibly teach all that I did after all this time on YouTube, and at the very end of the journey try to scam my brethren, or worse, trade Jesus for Mammon? That's completely unbelievable that I received some of those comments. So I had to pray to try to understand why so many people were so mean or ignored such a well-crafted work that I made for the church, and especially those who will be left behind, especially now that we're nowhere so close to the rapture. Why would anybody ignore such a work for them? That's when I received understanding, and it was obvious right in front of me. So if you are not new on my channel, you watched previous videos since last year, you already know this that I'm going to show you. God already said that there won't be an America after the rapture. So this is a video that I made in February this year, where I called the meeting point of the American eclipses in 2017 and 2024, also in 2023. The meeting point, I called it Hiroshima and Nagasaki at that time in February. And I called it because I knew this was some kind of judgment that was going to happen in America, because the blood in the hands of America. And at the time that I received this understanding, I was actually watching Oppenheimer, the movie from 2023, and that came very clear to me. And also, if you're even older on my channel, you know that all the way back in August 2023, I already said that there wouldn't be a safe place on earth, and that the West would cease to exist in the coming tribulation. So this world that we are known to understand and see now, it won't be the same after the rapture. So what was the point of knowing how to work a new system if there wasn't going to be a system at all? Here in Brazil, the B in BRICS plus 5, now it's BRICS plus 5 counters, so total of 10 counters, exactly like in the prophecy in the Bible. The central bank here in Brazil is already implementing this digital currency that's going to be the one linked to the following Antichrist currency in the future. Most likely by next year, here in Brazil, it will be imposed. That's why my previous video was better understood by Brazilians rather than Americans. That's why I understood that I needed to change the way I presented it and answer a few more questions before we get to the Rapture stuff that most people here are used to do in my channel. So we here are the B in BRICS. We know BRICS will be the new world order, the order of the China, the order of the red dragon that will subdue all nations and will unite them towards the Antichrist. And for that to happen, America, the English-speaking world, Europe there as well, they have to be out of the play, out of the game. And the only way that I can see this happening is through a large judgment event like the ones that happened in the 1945 there. So that's the only way that this can happen. And I received news as I was doing this video that Russia is just moving to Cuba his missiles again, just like it happened on the threat that America had back in the Cold War. Seems like this is exactly happening right now as well. So we know that this is coming very, very soon. So before I continue this, I need to answer a few questions for those that even didn't watch my previous video or those that were very scandalized by it. Why did I create the token of Jesus, the Christ coin? Let's put it that way. It was to get rich or to scam my brothers, perhaps to serve another God, or because I lost focus of the end, or to sin against God? No, of course not. I spent time, money, and dedicated a lot of energy towards it to create a system for believers to escape the clutches of the evil for a time, times and half a time. We know we cannot stop prophecy from coming, but we know that we can give time for those that will need time, and that's very special for those that will be left behind. So that's why I said time, times and half a time. For at least 3.5 years, I believe this system will still be up and running. The image of Jesus in the cross is just to picture the event that gave us our freedom. He himself said it is finished at that moment because it is completed. The work, his work in the cross was completed and our freedom was achieved there. It is also the most known image of Christianity in the whole world. So everybody that sees this will understand that this is Jesus, this belongs to Christ. That's his work in the cross. And also because in the tribulation, those that will be the tribulation saints, they will be reminded of his sacrifice in order to give their life to him, just as he gave his life to us. This is going to be an encouragement. And also the hexagon that many said that is devilish. It is not. It has actually 6 dots, which represents salvation. 6 is the number of a man. It is the number of salvation. And it is also the letter Vav in Hebrew, which means secure. So that's all the reasons that I used the image there that you were seeing. I need to point this out because many of you were not understanding this and were very off from the reality that cryptocurrencies are not a scheme. The largest investment funds would not be investing in this if it was a scheme, or there wouldn't be any ETFs if it was a scam or a pyramid scheme. Cryptocurrencies are the logical evolution of the monetary system, just like a lamp is the evolution for the candle, just like the smartphone is the evolution for the landline phone. The logical evolution of the monetary system is to go towards cryptocurrencies because it's better, it's safer, it is the logical evolution. It is the thing that people need to do, that the world will need to do in order to adapt to this evolution. Nobody can steal try to rent movies on a store if there's Netflix. That's anti-evolutionary. So we need to move this, in the world is going to move this. That's why the Bible foretold us about. The community gives its value at the start, then the market dictates the price based on the adoption of it. So you can understand this as a shared meal that we're all gonna cook for every believer in the whole world, just like in this picture. We're gonna cook a meal for every believer, especially those who will be left behind, to feast on. And everybody just chips in a little bit to buy the ingredients in order for us to do it, and in order also to receive the right to eat at the big feast later. Just like a cookout that we can do, like a church cookout that we can do, but this is way bigger. It's for all of the believers in the whole world, especially those who will become believers after the rapture. I am just the person organizing it and managing it, so that it all goes according to plan, nothing else. And a few questions that I know people were asking in the comments. But the rapture will happen. Why bother do this now? Well, the rapture will happen indeed. That is precisely why we shouldn't feel attached to material things now. The more people we bless with what we have now, the better. After all, it will all be left here and will all be worth nothing after the rapture. So as soon as the rapture happens, it's very likely that everything that you had, unless you had some food saved, unless you had some gold saved, everything will be worthless. Every dollar that you have in your bank account will be worthless. They will mean nothing. They won't help anyone no more. So at this time that we know the rapture is so close, that's when we should at least think through and prepare for those that will be left behind, especially family members that we know are unbelievers and will become a believer after the rapture. We can prepare for them as we are loving them before they become believers. So that's the moment we should do this, because afterwards it will all basically be worth nothing. And everything that we have or prepared for them, food will spoil, gold can be robbed, other currencies, there will be massive sellouts, and it will lose its money, its value. But there is something that won't lose its value. But before that, I have to also address this. But there will be an EMP and all electricity will fail and internet will go down. I too believe in this. Yeah, it's very likely that the internet will go down, electricity will go down. However, we know that the Antichrist still needs the system to control the whole world. It is not possible for him to control every small city in the world if he does not have this internet system available. So once this system is repaired, it will all comes back into work. Just like if you shut down your computer, your data won't disappear. So you can turn off the electricity and that's fine. Your data is still in the hard drive. Once the electricity goes back on, it will all be there just like it was previously. So that's why we know this will still endure for at least 3.5 years after the rapture. And better yet, once this crisis hit, everybody will sell their assets very fast, so all their tokens, but there will be one token that will not be sold, and that's precisely the tokens of those who were raptured. So everybody who has the Christ currency, the token of Jesus, in their wallets and are going to be raptured, they are not going to sell those tokens, so they will remain with the value that they have. So that's very interesting. That's something else that God gave me as I was trying to do this message. But it's okay. If you still don't understand the mega purpose of this that I spent a lot of time to create, that's completely fine. Nobody's pressuring you into doing anything. Besides, it is being given out for free anyways. The person just needs to talk about it, promote it for others to understand this, and it's giving it out for free. But I know that almost 2 million tokens have already been reserved from people that want to participate in this huge cookout that we are making for all the church, especially those who will be left behind. As this is the moment for us to be as selfless as possible, because we truly are on the verge of the rapture. So that's what I keep on telling people that ask me, what are you going to do with your finances after the rapture? You're going to just leave it be and waste this enormous opportunity to have treasures in heaven? Because if you only let it be, then it will lose its value or it will be confiscated. And the purpose of this that I created, it is the only way of Christ to bless many people while maintaining the value that you had before. So please, if this is not for you, just move along. Don't call me names or assume the worst about me, because not only that is not a Christ-oriented action, but also you'll be fighting against the only work for Christ in this area. Essentially, you'll be serving the enemy by trying to prevent Christ from being promoted in this area. And he said that all of those who are not gathering with him are scattering. So I had to talk about this message in the beginning of this video for many to understand the purpose of my previous video that many ignored, but some were very mean and accused me of most absurd things. Now that I have taken this out of the way, let's talk about the late rain for the rapture. The late rain for the rapture is very interesting if you pay attention to see how it works on the real world. So we have a little bit of soil here, and we have our seed in the soil. Then we have this seasonal rain. The seasonal rain is the rain that comes every season to, in the right time, to make the plant grow. Then the plant keeps on growing. It keeps on growing and growing and growing with this seasonal rain, which is normal, it's common. It is to make the plant grow and grow and grow. Then after some point, the plant does not need more rain. The plant needs some sunlight to give its life and to be strengthened. So the sunlight keeps making the plant grow strong, and then at some point, the plant is basically ready. It is grown up, but still needs the next part, which is the latter rain. The latter rain is there to make the plant be ready to be harvested. So the late rain is to cause the grain to be mature for the harvest. At this phase, the plant will either mature or it will spoil and rot. So the latter rain is the last rain of the season that comes just to make the plant ready to be harvested. The plant is basically ready. It is completed, it's grown, but it needs to mature in order for it to be harvested. And that's the latter rain that we are experiencing now. The latter rain that will basically mature us to be ready to be taken to the Father's house. And this comes with a question: which type of grain do you want to be? The one that will mature or the one that will spoil and rot? And at this time, after so many years, I believe that to be mature at this time is to feel like when we are not that excited anymore about when the harvest will happen, but when we are confident about it, knowing how it will happen very soon in the correct time, and we start to think of the time we still have left to do acts of love. And that is fruit, that is precious for God. When we think of the time we have left to do acts of love, that's maturity in there. Not to know when the rapture is and be excited about it, but to understand that it will happen most likely very, very soon. I believe in the next months, if not in this month, in the next months. But know that we can use this precious time that we're still here to love one another, especially now that we know that the time is so short. So to believe in Him so much that you purposefully get out of your way to serve others, that's love. And why isn't the church doing more of this now that the rapture is so close, right? So I have here the chart, and we are just past the third month, And we are just entering here the best possible moments for the rapture in this season of this year. We're under the red high watch moment here. Go into the third, fourth, and fifth month. That's the best possible scenarios for the church to be raptured. And if you've seen this timeline here that I made for you guys back in the second Passover time frame, now we're gonna do this one here. It's the updated one. Shavuot may be the proposal, just like it was back in the day, but Feast of the Wine might be the wedding of the Lamb. So we're going to enter Shavuot, and I'm going to show you here on the calendar very soon, which is a very high watch date as well. That's why it is in red here. Shavuot is very interesting. That's when God shook the earth, and he will shake the earth once again with the rapture. So that's a very likely possibility. And a brother that is talking about this, and I love it, is our brother God a Minute from brother Aaron from God a Minute. He's talking about this. It is very interesting, his findings about this, and it's a very likely possibility. However, he's talking about the Shavuot time frame being on June 16-ish, and that's quite not right, as we can see here on the calendar. The Jews are saying that Shavuot is on the 12th and 13th of June, so the day after tomorrow. That's not correct as well. They count 50 straight days from Passover. That's not quite right. Aaron from God a Minute, he's saying it's the 16th, so it is the Sunday after Saturday, but that's also not quite right, because back in the day, there were no Sundays or Saturdays, so the counting, although the intention is correct, the counting with the current modern days Gentile work calendar are not working right. The true dates for true Shavuot, as you can see written here, is the 14 and 15 of Sivan, which is 20 and 21 of June. That's the full moon. It is always on the full moon Shavuot, because if you count 7 complete Shabbats from the end of the Passover season. And we can do this together here so you can understand. So let's go back here to Passover. And Passover, we're here on the 22nd and 23rd of April. But the Shabbat finished here on the 22nd of Nisan here. So 7 of Nisan, 14 of Nisan, 21st of Nisan, and then the 22nd is the day after the Shabbat. The Shabbat was 7, 14, 21. The day after Shabbat is the 22nd. So then we count 7 Shabbats here. So 21st of Nisan, then we get 28th of Nisan, 1. Then we count the 7th day of Iyar, 2, 14th day, 3, 21st day, 4. So 21 of Iyar, 4th Shabbat, 28th of Iyar, 5th Shabbat, then 7th of Sivan, 6th Shabbat, and then 14th of Sivan, 7 Shabbats. That's when we count, and then that's when we know that Shavuot is 20 and 21 of June, which is 14 and 15 of Sivan, always on the full moon. And many are considering here 6 and 7, 12 and 13 of June. That's not quite right, although we can also look at this just to see. And I don't know why, but 16th of June, it's not also Shavuot. True Shavuot's here, 20 and 21 of June. And then after Shavuot, we count 7 more Shabbats to go to the Feast of Wine, which is, for me, the next biggest possibility for the rapture to happen. And it does make sense for the rapture to happen here, That gives us precisely 40 days. That's the time of trouble, time of judgment in the world before the UN 7 years pact, the pact for the future, there that the Antichrist will make the covenant with many. So it makes a lot of sense, and this has got to be here because the dove and the crow is released on this date. The Jews are scared of the 9th of Av, the day after the Feast of Wine, because tragedies happened with the Jews on that date because they missed entering the promised land. They missed receiving blessings and marrying God on this date. So that's the most likely moment for the rapture, as we see here in the timeline. But now let's count 7 more Shabbats until the time for the Feast of Wine. So we have here the 14, and then the 21st is 1, the 28th is 2. Now let's go back. The 7 is 3, 14 is 4, 21 is 5, 28 here of Tammuz is 6, and then 7 of Av is 7 Shabbats. The day after, the 50th day, is August 12, the 8th of Av, and then 9th of Av. Because they missed on the 8th of Av, they received the judgment on 9th of Av. That's why they call this the day of trouble. So the great and the terrible day of the Lord might just happen here, August 12 and 13, up to August 14 here. It's very interesting time frame for us to look to, but August 12, very interesting day for us to live in the rapture. That's precisely 40 days away from the UN 7 years pact of the future. And the best video that I've seen so far about this, explaining everything why Pentecost is actually here and not on Shavuot, is this video here from Generation 2434, where Dr. Barry All is also here in this video. I watched 1 hour of it so far, but I can truly say that this has got to be one of the best videos, if not the best video, about this time frame that I have ever watched. So it is very likely that this is going to be the date of the rapture, specifically on this year, because we are on the maximum amount of stretch that we can have now, and this year has got to be the year, especially the time frame that we have been seeing so far. So this is the best video that I have been watching. I encourage you all to watch this video, and it explains a lot. Every question that you might have, it is answered here. So go there and watch the video for you to understand how awesome this is and how close we are to the rapture. I believe that's when we will definitely leave, or by that time frame, that's when we should leave, because that's true Pentecost. And now we're going to watch Shavuot, of course. It is a high possibility as well. But if we missed here, if we don't go here, June 2021, then most likely it will be August 12 up to August 14. And that's the latest that the rapture can happen, because after that comes the fall season. After that comes the pact for the future of the UN, which I believe has got to be Daniel 9:27, covenant with many. So that's what I wanted to tell you guys, specifically in the beginning of this video, to teach those that always look for the date of the rapture without looking and watching to be in the presence of the Lord. We must do His will. We must love Him and love others as He commanded us. And that's truly how we watch. We watch that we remain in His presence. That's love. That's how we serve Him. That's how we serve the church. That's how we are ready to go in the rapture. We must be in His presence in order for us to live towards His presence when He calls. And if we are not in His presence, but we know precisely the date of the rapture, which might be August 12, it doesn't matter. You're going to see the rapture happening on that date, and then you might not go just because you were not in His presence. You didn't have oil at that time frame when you were expected to have oil, which is the Spirit, the Holy Spirit in you. So if you are not in his presence, it doesn't matter if you know or not the date of the rapture. It is better for you to be in his presence all the time. Then when the rapture happens, you will be taken to him. Doesn't matter when it is. But if you want to know what it is, and which bride does not want to know when her wedding is, then August 12 it is the best possible candidate by now. But there's still a possibility here, June 20 and 21. Now that's what I wanted to tell you guys, especially because we are seeing the latter rain, and this latter rain is to make us mature, to be ready to be harvested. I'm sorry for the microphone trouble that I had in the beginning. I don't know why that happened. I had to disconnect and connect again, but I believe I can fix this after in the YouTube edition. And if you still haven't watched my previous video here, it is very important work for Christ that I'm making for all of the believers and also those who will be left behind. It is a way that you can bless them and leave your blessings here to be used by those who will need this and need time. A lot of Brazilians already understood this because we are seeing the rise of the digital currency here in our country, and we're seeing also BRICS preparing it. So they are ahead of us for now, but we can catch up if we are still open to serve God as we must now in these end times. So this is the videos here. This is basically currency for believers to use, and I'm giving for free for all of those that promote it. Just talk about it, post about it, and then you see. And this is the website that I created, which it took me a lot of time and a lot of resources to do this. The website for people to understand what this token is. I have to fix this, but I have been preparing here for those left behind and the current church that needs to be protected from central bank digital currency. So that's the thing that I did, and I expect you to at least understand, or if not, don't just call me names, because we know we're serving God here, the same God that I have been serving for a long, long time. It doesn't make sense for me to trade him for anything else at this late time. All right, Maranatha, I hope you were blessed by this video. I hope that you get ready, you remain in his presence, you preach to others, you love one another. I hope that you prepare your way to meet him very, very soon in the rapture, which is the moment that we are going to him as the bride is taken to the Father's house. Amen. Maranatha. I hope to see you guys very, very soon, either here on the next video or in the Father's house. Amen. Maranatha.